Well, now America's mayor is getting involved in this case. Mark and Patricia McCloskeys, along with former New York City mayor and President Trump's attorney Rudy Giuliani, join me now from St. Louis. Guys, thanks so much for coming on. We really do appreciate it. Mayor, tell us, just to start off,
well, thank you.
Why are you in St. Louis and what part you're going to play in this case?
Well, I'm here with Bernie Kerik, and what we're doing is we're examining this case because it is very, very similar to a pattern that's going on around the country. These people, the McCloskeys, are clearly being persecuted, not prosecuted. They were attempting to defend themselves. The laws of Missouri are about as clear as you can be under the Castle Doctrine and hold your ground. They had every right to do what they were doing. These people were threatening them. And it is brought by a district attorney who was elected by George Soros, just like the district attorney in Chicago was elected by George Soros, who dropped the Smollett case, allowed protesters to go free, just like the district attorney in Philadelphia, who refuses to prosecute property cases and is creating chaos in the criminal justice. I can go on and on. There's a plan here and there's a plot here, and it involves the biggest donor to the Democratic Party, George Soros, the biggest donor to Black Lives Matter, and the money that's donated to Joe Biden goes to exactly the same company that gives money to Black Lives Matter. And they are behind a lot of these very, very unfair, unjust prosecutions. And we'll be covering a lot of them, a couple of them right here in St. Louis. But, you know, let me turn to them because they were put through something that no American citizen should be put through. You should not be prosecuted for attempting to defend your life.
Mayor, let's ask them. I have your ear, I don't have theirs. So
Sure.
if you could just ask them, I guess, the latest on the legal battle.
So right now, what's the latest on the legal battle? Where are you in this ridiculous case that's been brought against you?
Well, you know, we've been charged with Class C felonies for flourishing. They can get us up to 4 years in prison, $10,000 fine. We'll lose our law licenses, lose our right to vote, lose our right to defend ourselves, and not sure I'd want to live in this neighborhood if I wasn't allowed to own a gun. We had our first court appearance last Monday, and it turns out that Kim Gardner, the prosecutor, had not presented our case to a grand jury yet, so we'd not been indicted, so there's nothing to plead. So the judge continued our case until October the 2nd and instructed the circuit attorney's office to present us to a grand jury and get an indictment if she can, so that we have something to plead to when we go back the next time. But, you know, she just won her primary, which is the same as the general election in St. Louis, so she's going to be our circuit attorney, and we're going to have to battle this out to the end. And even though the governor has promised to pardon us, he's up for re-election, and there's no guarantees in this world, although I think he's going to win. But still, we have to get convicted first before he can pardon us. And we got to pay lawyers and go through all this for years, probably, until we can get any kind of indication for doing what? For just trying to protect ourselves and keep ourselves from getting killed and getting our house burned down by a mob, which, you know, by the way, had burned down downtown St. Louis, shot 4 cops, killed Captain David Doran, and then they come after us, and for this we get arrested, we get prosecuted. Makes no sense at all.
So at the time that this happened, that's all that was going on here. You had looting going on, you had burning going on, you had police officers shot, and you had a police officer murdered. And then they came through, I walked through it. It's clearly a private gated entrance. It says private property, it says no trespassing, which is a crime, I think. It has been since common law. Since common law, trespassing is a crime.
And they ripped down a wrought iron gate?
How many?
I think 3 to...
Did they rip down a wrought iron gate?
They did. They folded it in half. The gate, and I got it.
And you showed me pictures of it.
And you know, this is so ridiculous because I still see today, I checked right before you came over here, media is still saying, well, we don't know when the fence was broken, because there's a picture that's been widely circulated of an African-American gentleman holding the gate open. What they don't show you is a crowd of people going through where the other half of that gate does not open. The only way you can get through it is by breaking it. And they pushed it, they broke it in half, pushed it to the ground, and these people were filing through en masse, like falling over each other, hurtling over that gate. And we're in my living room right now. That gate's about 75 feet from where we're sitting right now.
Right.
Beyond that, 1 block over is a bunch of restaurants and shops. My wife, my daughter, and myself. And all of a sudden we hear the crowd coming up Kings Highway. Kings Highway, you just drove down it. It's 100 feet wide from side to side. Fills from wall to wall with people as far as we could see. The police had shut down Kings Highway to allow the mob to come through, but posted nobody on our gate. And we're sitting there, look over at Patty, and I said, holy, you know what? They're out there. I hope they don't decide to come this direction. Then all of a sudden the gate bursts open, and there's 300 people come in.
So this is private property.
Oh, absolutely.
And it says no trespassing. Doesn't matter if the gate's open or closed, by the way.
Yeah,
it says no trespassing. You can't walk on my lawn because the gate's open. And then with 500, how many people?
300 to 500 people.
300 to 500 people, some of them with arms.
Yeah.
And what were they saying?
Wearing body armor, threatening us, threatening to kill us, threatening to burn the house, pointing to the rooms in the house here, saying, that's where going to be my bedroom, that's going to be where I take my bath, that's where I'm going to have my dinner after you guys are dead.
A lot of things you can't even say on TV.
I cannot even imagine. Mayor, we've got a
female anatomy that you just cannot possibly repeat.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mayor, I'm listening to every word of this, and it's just unbelievable to revisit it because it's just such a terrible thing. We've got to run at this point, but I think a lot of people are glad that you're there to help out in this case. I still can't believe they're going to actually try to do this case, but at least you're there to help.
Well, it's all being done. It's being done by a Democratic district attorney, a Democratic mayor, and a Democratic district attorney put here by the biggest donor to the Democratic Party, George Soros, who also is the biggest donor to Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it seems like a loser for the prosecutors.
Persecution.
But thank you guys so much for your time. We do appreciate it. What a story.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll be right back.